you're preserving the balance in your IRA. So dollar for dollar, you're just paying less in taxes. And because the dollar amount in that situation might be slightly higher, you may actually have more money left over or that can grow throughout retirement. Welcome to How to Retire on Time, a show that answers your retirement questions. Say goodbye to the oversimplified advice you've heard hundreds of times. This show's all about the nitty-gritty. That said, remember, this is just a show, not financial advice. Do your research. Now, with me in the studio is David Franson. Today, we're going to read your questions. As always, you text your questions to 913-363-1234, and we'll answer them on the show. David, what do we got today?
Hey, Mike, I have both a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. Which one should I pull from first in retirement?
Most people are going to assume that you'd pull from the IRA first to lower your RMD potential. And why would you touch the Roth? You want it to grow. Though I agree with the sentiment of that, I do want to acknowledge some potential tax brackets.
Okay.
So let's say, just for simplistic sake, that you have your 10% bracket, you've got your 12% bracket, and the 12% bracket in your situation ends at $100,000.
All right.
That's not the real tax brackets. We're using real numbers, as in we're using simple numbers, okay? Just want to make this easy. And what if you need, I don't know, $10,000 or $110,000 a year for the income that you want?
Right. To support whatever retirement plan you have
Yeah.
that requires 110.
Yeah.
So, but you're 10,000 over that.
Yeah.
So now what?
So you want to start to look at a couple of things. First off, the standard deduction. Does the standard deduction or the one big beautiful bill deduction or the senior deduction lower your AGI, your adjusted gross income, so that you're within the bottom brackets? So in this situation, maybe the $10,000 you need with the standard deduction, assuming it's $30,000 or so, puts you or keeps you in the lower tax bracket. Therefore, in that situation, you don't really need to pull anything out of anything else other than the IRA.
Okay.
Because you're in the lower tax bracket. Now let's assume you're at $150K and the standard deduction gets you to $120K. The bracket ends at $100,000 for simple math.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't. There's going to be people in the comments saying, oh, this guy doesn't get tax law. Look, I'm making an evergreen video to teach a point.
Okay. Yep.
Or audio clip, if you will.
Yeah.
So you've got this little bridge. In my mind, you want to be cognizant of not just the income that you need, but the amount of money that's going to taxes. What if RMDs weren't going to be an issue in the future? What if just by taking, let's say $130,000 from your IRA, the standard deduction then brings you to $100,000. So all of your IRA assets are taxed at 12%, and you took a little bit from your Roth. What you're doing is you're preserving the balance in your IRA. So dollar for dollar, you're just paying less in taxes. And because the dollar amount in that situation might be slightly higher, you may actually have more money left over or that can grow throughout retirement. So taking a little bit from the Roth just to navigate in tax brackets may be appropriate. May is the key word here, because if you're going deep into a tax bracket, maybe the Roth distributions to just bridge the gap, it's too much burden on the Roth.
Oh, in what way? Yeah. How does that manifest itself?
Well, if you drain too much from your Roth and then it's eventually gone, were you really addressing the issue? Or were you just kind of avoiding taxes altogether?
Yeah.
And then you also want to acknowledge what's your tax rate or your effective tax rate versus the effective tax rate of maybe who's going to receive the assets. Because if you're in the 10, 12% tax bracket and that's it, and the assets are going to your son or daughter and they're in the 22, 24% bracket, I don't know. You might do some more conversions. You might keep things in that bracket. You might say, the heck with it. I'm going to go a little bit into the 22% tax bracket because I want them to have the Roth assets so that it doesn't add to their 22 or 24% tax bracket.
So the Roth carries over to the heir. The heir gets to keep that non-taxable basis. It doesn't.
Yeah. So let me just say what I did differently.
Okay.
We weren't just looking at how to preserve assets, how to minimize our taxes in the tax brackets by looking at every dollar and the taxation of each dollar. we were also looking at where the money would go after
Mm.
you passed.
A longer range view here.
And sometimes it makes sense for you just to pay slightly more in taxes now because of your legacy intentions. So it's kind of a multifaceted question, but
Yeah.
I believe it is good to have an openness to blending when it makes sense, while acknowledging what you need now, what you might need in 5 or 10 years, and where you want the money to go later on in life. I know the tax brackets are technically permanent, but that's only as permanent until the next administration and they change the taxes.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like then maybe the semi-default answer is let's pull from traditional IRA first, but be open to dipping into the Roth if needed.
Yeah.
And would there ever be a case where you'd say Roth first? Can you build a case for that and make an argument for it?
There has to always be a case for something. In finance, there has to always be a case. So let me try and build one. So if you're 64 years old,
okay,
all of your assets are in qualified accounts. So that means it's in an IRA or in a Roth. And there are significant healthcare subsidies.
Okay.
So you can either take income from the IRA and pay an arm and a leg for your insurance for the age of 64, right before Medicare, or you could take most of your money from Roth and then look like you're very, very poor and then qualify for all these subsidies. Maybe that could work for you. I doubt it. I doubt it. Let's see. What are some other, it's what you're trying to do is avoid taxes for a certain situation. That's really it. And based on current tax law, there really isn't many other situations like that. There has to be a benefit for having a low 1040, a low adjusted gross income or modified adjusted gross income for coming from your 1040 so that you're able to qualify for certain benefits. But you don't qualify for Medicaid that way. So that wouldn't be it. Yeah, I think it's just to manipulate your tax return. So in the future, if something comes up, it's something to be aware of.